Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Bad Bench. Oh, this week we might have some tears for real this time. Although I guess there are lots of times that there's some bad stuff happening. So today we're going to be continuing work on the Macintosh II and the Macintosh IIx. Let's show what's going on the Big Bad Bench. As you can see here, this is our Macintosh II logic board. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I'm screwing up my mouse. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. And, oh, hey, everybody. How's it going? Starbuck Tech's here. Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. Eric's Edge. Garth Beagle. How's it going, everybody? And Adam McG. Thank you all for being here. Always great to see you. So, a couple, for the last month, I've been restoring these Macintosh II and Macintosh IIx machines. We ultimately got the logic boards going on them. But it turns out that both the 2 and the IIx require their FPUs to be installed in order to boot properly. So if they're not, then we get something like this. So we get nice chime. And hopefully something will show up on the big screen behind me. Yep, here we go. And so this is 608, and it might be kind of hard to see there, but it's just flashing. So what happens if we try to boot with a different OS? I'm going to use a floppy of 7.5 here. Hey, Jack68K, thanks for stopping by. So what we're going to do here, we're going to boot from our floppy. We got our Happy Mac. Welcome to Mac. And so in certain versions of Mac OS, we get a F-line error. Sometimes it comes out right out and says floating point coprocessor not installed. And so we need floating point coprocessors. And so unfortunately, if you look at our 68020 and our 6881 coprocessor, you can see they have a lot of gold on them. And so these are lovely targets for gold scrappers. And so the prices on these things are stupid. It's really hard to find a 68881, which is the one that goes along with the 68020. Turns out after the fact, I realized that you can use a 6882 instead of a 6881. But even so, these styles with the pin grid array are like $30 each in a best case scenario. And so one of the things I did was I had a bunch of 6882s around, but they were the PLCC style that require the different socket. And so one of the things I did was making a little adapter. And so this little adapter seems to work great. It's been sitting around for a week or so hopefully it's still working. We'll get back to this system today. This is the Macintosh IIx, which is a 68030 processor instead of the 68020 that's in the Macintosh II. And so hopefully this thing's still intact because I want to get the Mac IIx together today as our second project. Cthulhu adapter, yes, Frankenstein. I'm calling this this 2X the Cordyceps Macintosh 2X because this reminds me of like those clickers from what's that game? The Last of Us. All the stuff coming up out of their heads, and Cordyceps is a fungus, and fungi like to grow in little things like this. So yeah, some people call it the flying spaghetti monster adapter. Yeah, this is my Cordyceps Macintosh 2X. So hopefully we'll get to that. So let's start off with the processor. Oh, let's show this off too because these are a piece of history for me. So these are mechanical pencils that I used way back in the 90s. These were my pencil of choice back in the day, not just because I loved the pencil style, but also because these things have really great ends for fixing CPU pins. Oh, and Epictronics is here. Joe's Computer Museum is here. And Mac84 is here. How's it going, everybody? Thank you for stopping by and witnessing my pain as we try to work on this thing. So most of these most of these pins should be fine, but I have real concerns about these two, and even this one over here. So let's go over to the microscope and see what we can see in the microscope. All right, there we go. All right, sorry, zoom cam. So I think for some of these, I'm just going to start off using forceps. And what I like to do is kind of like clamp down on them. And ultimately you can get them pretty darn close. And so you want to go in ideally from both like the X and Y direction. And all right, let's get started on these ones. So this one's not great. So we're gonna just go real slow on these things. Sorry, it's not a super easy thing to focus on. Just gonna go real slow on these. So this 6881, I paid just under $20 for. That's how desperate I was. I really didn't want to pay the full 30. I was like, screw it. Let's see if I can save any money. And so I'm just working these really slow. Just moving them up. I've been really holding myself back ever since I got these from doing it. I was like, well, if I screw this up, I want the whole world to see it. We're just going real slow. Alright, so we're making progress there. I want them to get kind of close and then we'll come back in and really get them. I'm sorry that your Apple II purchases were not as intended, or were they as intended, Adam? Sometimes I don't know what you buy, because you buy a lot of stuff. I can't keep up with it all. Is anyone else sweating? So some of the times you run into issues where you are trying to get one and you're running into one of your other ones. It's good. Dave's even nervous for me. And JVHS is here too. How's it going, Jeremy? All right. we're making progress here. It's slow. I haven't touched the two worst pins yet. So if I can't get these other ones right, it's not even worth going to that. Alright. Alright, these are all looking a little better. So, what we can do, where's my other mechanical pencil? So this one, this pin right here is very, very curved. So what I'm going to do is come in here. Okay. Yeah, I'm just warming up to get them. So the other thing is, even if I get all these stupid pins straightened, there's no guarantee that this coprocessor is actually any good. So that'll be another fun bit to see. All right, let's go over here. So I'm using my pencil to slowly bring that one around. Okay. Again, I apologize that I can't get this in great focus. The microscopes, it makes it kind of hard to focus on multiple distances like this. You can see we're coming back around. We're getting them. I think most of these are going to be fine. Yeah, how many P1s you did this to back in the day? Yeah, just coming in. I'm trying to apply force like down by the base of the pin socket here. So that I'm not like twisting the pins too high up. How did this happen to this thing? I have no idea. I mean, you know, like gold scrappers don't care. I fully imagine that this system, that this coprocessor came from a gold scrapper, and that they realized that you can actually make more money on these things these days, selling them as their intended use. So, you know, you just throw them all into a bin. You don't really care if they get mangled. Alright. So we got a bunch that are looking way better. Also, like for this one, you can't even see it. I'm trying to find where it's bent and try to bend from that point on. And so you can see we're going. It's a slow process. This stream is going to be about as exciting as watching paint dry. But we'll get there. How's it going, DIY? Slow and steady. Slow and steady. Everyone's gonna be asleep by the time I get to actually test this thing out. Alright, let's get to the nasty ones. Let's see what we can do with this. Alright, gonna go back to forceps on these. These poor things. Adam, you were the one to have stepped on it. Did I buy this off of you on eBay? Yeah, you can. So, see, that was one thing I didn't want to do. You can use a PC backcut, like a I/O backplate kind of thing for a computer to help straighten them once they get close. I used to use a credit card. Pin straightening ASMR. Starbucks Tech, you would have paid the extra money. It's the whole premise of it. I'm just like $30 for a stupid math coprocessor. Are you kidding me? The principle of it. Alright, so I got it close enough that now I can get my forceps in here. I think if I get this into the CPU socket and it works, I'm gonna like glue it in. Make sure nobody ever takes this thing out again. Alright. Wow. Alright. You can see it's still mangled, but that's way better than where we were at. Let's get these. And, aside from the money aspect of it and the principle aspect of it, I mean, look at y'all here watching this thing. Y'all needed some content for a nice Saturday afternoon, right? People love watching a train wreck. And Rally Scoot's here too. How's it going, Rally? So we're just going real slow. That was a little faster than I wanted to go. Whew. Okay. Come in. All right, vintage collector and gamer. Welcome, Rally. What is this going into? So this 6881 floating point coprocessor is going into the Macintosh IIx. Or no, this is the Macintosh II. Okay. So yeah, the 6881 was the original math coprocessor for the 68020. I haven't tried it, but apparently you can use 68882s for 68020s as well. But again, I don't have spare ones, so this is what we're going with. Alright, so now I'm just using my tweezers to try to straighten these things. We don't want to go nuts on them because the metal will be weakened, especially on those two pins. Okay, I'm just going to use my tweezers as little vices here. Try to straighten some of these out. Whew. All right. So you can see we're still have a lot bent. Come through, line those up. Oh, I'm so happy that those pins didn't break. I was totally expecting that. All right. So you can see we're in a much better situation than we were at the beginning of this stream. How long have I gone? 20 minutes. Wow. I guess I started a little late too. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. So I'll be honest, I have a 68040 that has been corroded to hell. And so I was kind of practicing with this yesterday, trying to see like if I could desolder this or if heat helped it at all. You can see how bad this thing was corroded. That pin just fell off. And it doesn't seem like heat helped a lot. I was playing around with it, and it didn't seem to do much. So I was like, yeah, let's just skip the heat and go straight for it. This doesn't have any longer pins. It could just be the way it's looking on the microscope or in the camera. Yeah, I think these are all the same size. Yeah. Optics do weird stuff, especially with my crappy microscope camera. All right. I think we're getting pretty close on this thing. Oh, sorry. Not that you could tell. All right. So next thing, what are we gonna do now? All right. So I'm gonna come in. Let's switch over to the regular view. Normal view. Okay. Let's take a look here. You can see we're not perfect yet, but we are way closer. And so let's use our defective ROM sim. So if you have pins that are much closer together, use something thinner. But I always like to have the space be kind of closer to what the distance is there. I'm actually gonna come in here and hit this with a little bit heavier dutier plier. Because these ones were really mangled. Okay. Use that. Come in, get that one. So using something long like this kind of helps you make sure that you're like applying even force across all the pins. Oh, Adam, we've been friends for a year now. You know how crazy I am. Speaking of a year, I forgot. So a couple weeks ago, or was it last week? Time is all screwed up for me at this point. Last week I announced that I'm giving away a Blue SCSI V2 as part of my doing YouTube for 1 year celebration, my YouTube anniversary. So make sure to go check that out if you haven't yet. Basically, all you have to do is to enter is leave a comment on that video, and you will be entered to winning a Blue SCSI V2. All right, so this isn't perfect, right? These pins are not, exactly all perpendicular right now, but they're all straight, right? And if we can get them straight, and we can get them all lined up with the sockets, I think we can get it in there. Is gluing this coprocessor a bad idea? No, it's totally a bad idea. I was joking. All right, so you can see we're still a little bit off on some of these. Yeah, I'm not going to glue it. Don't worry, folks. I'm not going to glue the coprocessor in. What do you think? That is way better. Yeah, the extra friction from the bent pins will help keep it in. All right. Let's pop this off, right? We already did our test on this one. So, we know what it does. Oh geez. Well, we knew what it did before I just dropped that on there. All right. So let's make this so that we can see it a little bit clearer. One thing I'm going to do is toss a little deoxit in this socket. Deoxit has a little bit of a lubricant in it, and so that'll help us a little bit. So let's see what this thing looks like when we try to put it in. So I'm not just gonna straight up jam it in there. I'm kind of like wiggling it a little bit, and I'm just feeling Like, you can basically feel if that thing's going to slide in there. Oh, there you go. So all the pins are now in the first layer. I should have showed this first, but... So now what I'm doing is just really gently, not like... There we go. We're in, folks. It's in. Now hopefully I got pin 1 right. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm looking from the side, right? And look at the gap between the CPU and the socket and the gap between here and here. If we had any misaligned pins and they had folded back over, that wouldn't sit as easily as it did, or as evenly as it is. Okay, so I think it's in. I think the gap is good. Oh, so let's go for broke, people. Let's try this thing out. I'm even going to be so bold as to put it on a mouse. Man, I hope this works. I mean, in reality, that coprocessor could be toast. I have no idea. It was sold as e-waste or as metal scrap. Got our mouse. Yep, here's our smoke test. Got to put on that, put on that. I guess we should plug it in to the power supply as well. Okay, I'm kind of shaking here. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Chime. We got boot. Oh, let's switch to this. Alright, so I'm booting from the floppy right now. This was the one that told us that we had a bad or no FPU. We don't have that error yet. Oh, I'm hopeful. I think it's going. Come on, baby. I shouldn't have started with the floppy. It takes too long to boot from floppies. You can't hear it, but I hear the floppy going. Oh, I can't believe this is working. It will take this long when we're booting from a floppy, yeah. My mouse is working. We'll switch over to the blue SCSI in a second. I'll let this boot up and then shut it down. But yeah, I think it's working. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This is wild. Alright, so I saved myself $10. There we go. Alright. Sorry, I shouldn't have booted from this floppy. It was just one I had around. Or convenient. This is a OS installer, and it's 7.5, which is not a great... not a great... There we go. Alright, the other thing that we just found out is that the soft power off worked, so that's very cool. Alright, our floppy's ejected. Let's boot to 608. And while we're waiting, here is the blue SCSI V2 that I'm giving away. Comes with a 8 gig SD card. Yeah, installing 7.5 from floppies is not fun. I did it yesterday to another system. You can see how 608, how quickly that boots up. Let's see. Got our 4 megs of RAM. Should we do... Oh, shoot. I don't have... oh, there it is. I do have Snooper on here. I thought I had Snooper on here. Yeah, Mac OS 608 is so fast. If you have a slower Mac system, it is a lot of fun to use. Oh. All right, we gotta adjust our monitor here. We even have color on this 68020. There, that looks better, huh? Yes, Bacchus, I fixed it already. Oh, we're not getting the great drawing. Alright, so let's unclick all these. We'll click CPU and FPU. Let's do a thing. Let's do a little test here. Alright, so while that's going... Alright, I'm still... is your workbench made completely of 5.2 floppy drive? So over here, that's my array of floppy drives that need to get fixed. Yes, I'm the big bad bender. So yes, we got all those pins unbent, and it is cranking. Oh, I can't believe that worked. Oh, I'm so stoked. All right, so our FPU just passed. We can use our log here. Let's see, we got one CPU test, one FPU test, and this thing is cranking. Yeah, so you can get a pretty quick system with like 701 and 7.1 in these systems, you know, depending on what else you're booting up at the time, but nothing compares to 608. I'm not a programmer, but apparently the way 608 was programmed is like very different, and it just interacts with the systems a lot faster. I will let more experienced people explain that. Basically, if you're just joining for the first time, I got into these old Macs about a year ago. And so everything that I've been doing in the last year has been all brand new learning. And so it's been a lot of fun. I have some decent skills with my hands, and you know, I thought it would be a lot of fun to learn about these things. And it's been awesome. What should you run on your LC2? I like to run 7.1 on an LC2. You know, it's one of the slower LCs. It has a restricted RAM bus, but you know, it's got a 68030. So 7.1's decent for it, and you know, you get some extra features and stuff that 6.8 doesn't, or 608 doesn't have. All right, so let's end this thing. We've done it 3 times. I'll come back and let this go, but this is not the only thing I wanted to do today. So let's shut this thing down and get to the rest of it. Oh, I can't believe this worked. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm kind of excited. I don't get excited that often. All right, so let's get some crap off the big bad bench here. Let's zoom out. So yeah, I do DIY. I mean, I've been a computer enthusiast for years. By trade, I'm a biologist. But I've stayed active in computers for years. But I hadn't really ever been a vintage Macintosh enthusiast. I never used them back in the day, really. I I had a couple throughout history, but I never really like learned how to work on them or anything. All right, thank you, little 68881. All right, one system down. Well, it's not done, but it's good enough. So let's put the 2X board on the big bed bench, and let's just confirm that this thing is still working, because it has been sitting around for about a week. So I think everything here should be good to go. Let's put a mouse on in case it boots. Oh, I forgot to put the speaker on so we don't have a chime, but let's see what happens here. Normally if they power on, they're gonna work. Nope. So the screwed up FPU, I paid just under $20 for it US. Okay. Oh, okay. So this system is weird. There might still be something wrong with this logic board. See, we get a SADMAC chime every once in a while. Alright, well this sucks. What kind of biology am I in? I am a molecular biologist. So I like to describe molecular biology as taking life apart and putting it back together in different kinds of ways. Alright. Yeah, that's my bad ROM sim. This RAM should all be good. This was the RAM I've been using in this system. It could be an issue because I do need to replace these sockets because they are the plastic ones and they're chipped. Alright, let's try to take out some of the RAM. So these plastic sockets are the worst. And the first four are all broken. Or at least partially broken. Yes. I don't know what it is with this thing. This thing was working great. Let's try our external loose SCSI. That's weird. That is so weird. It seems like it was a good call to just not throw this thing back into a case. Let's reseat these RAMs. Gotta be really careful with these first four. I refuse to believe this system is dead. This was the one I actually got working first. So you can see here the top pins on some of these are busted, and so I'm just like using a piece of paper to really cram into the bottom pins to help hold them tighter. Haha, Vic the Vicar, you missed all the fun. Now you're seeing me frustrated for a different reason. Damn it. Huh. This thing is mad, bro. Alright, let's take a look at this under the microscope and see if like maybe one of my trace repairs. I think I only had to repair one trace on this thing. Oof. All right. Take this off. One thing I would like to do today is get rid of these battery holders that I have been using as a temporary solution. Back to the microscope. Yeah. Possibly resetting the PRAM. Oh, there's a bad trace I missed before. Well, I don't know if it's bad yet. We'll find out. Where the heck is this one? Sorry, I need to adjust myself a little bit here. So all the caps on this thing I already did. So the caps should be fine. I went through and looked for bad traces. Alright, so that's one of my repairs. Oh, sorry, that's a little crooked for you. Let's make sure the repair's still there. Okay, that trace is good. That trace is good. That trace is good. Nice. Fine. Alright, so those should be okay. This one I just found looks totally fine. Yep. Oh, there might be another bad trace on this thing. Let's check this area. This one had some issues. I think if this area were bad, it wouldn't be powering up. Yeah. That's fine. That's good. All right, let's put on our battery system and let's see what happens here. Hey, Will, how's it going? Yeah, make sure to post a link. Will, I'm like I said, I'm giving away a Blue Scuzzy V2. Will is giving away a SE30 in combination with some other folks. we'll put in your link to that. Alright, so this is going to be fun, because basically I am not going to remove this thing from its socket. Maybe it came loose? No, that thing is tight. Alright, let's get rid of these sockets here. Zoom in a little bit. So these things are kind of useful, but they're also kind of annoying. So we're going to get rid of them. Make sure you shut them off if you do unsolder them so they don't short out on anything. And we're going to come in, put some fresh solder in these holes, and then get rid of it. Alright, so let's get rid of that. And we're going to put this board back on. This was one of the this was a little thing. I don't know why they put it on a little riser. They added a capacitor on there, so maybe that had some reason to do with it. We're going to reuse that. Okay. So I don't have a fancy desoldering iron. I use my old school solder pult. Okay, there's that. Well, our holes should be nice and clear. And that should go in there real nice. But we want to get rid of these holders. Set that aside for a second. I'm going to change up the style to a CR2032. So that 2X, I have noticed it before that it did the SADMAC chime. Like, so whenever I would change something, it would do a SADMAC chime. So like if I put the blue SCSI internal compared to external, it would give me a SADMAC. But as soon as I reset it, it would work fine again. And then, you know, the same with the RAM. If I had 4 megs and I upgraded it to 8, it would give me a SADMAC, but then it would work again. So I don't really know what's going on with that one. It seems, you know, a little cursed, as all these things are a little cursed. Maybe there's a particular circuit that's not ideal. Come in and put some fresh solder on all these. Which one's which? Yeah, we want the outside ones. Outside. This is why it helps to have one of those little soldering stations sometimes. Whew, okay. So that's ready. Oops, sorry. I'm missing a bunch of chat here. Sorry, everybody. Clearly, I should sell CPU, FPU bodge kits. Yeah, definitely. That sounds like a good use of time. Alright, good. We'll put in the link for winning the SE30. Gonna learn how to make new ROM chips for Apple IIc. Yeah, that's a good idea. YouTube bug said I had KMac vintage big challenge. Yes. All right. And Trina's Techno Babbles here. How's it going, Trina? Alrighty. So now we got to put in our CR2032 holders. So we can see here is that our 2032 holders are small. I think what I'm going to do is mount the negative side there, and then we're going to bend the positive side. We're going to bend this very slowly. Today's all about bending stuff. These little crappy 2032 holders are pretty fragile. Oh god, two SIs. I feel you, Will. I have one. So one of my videos from, I guess it was December, or no, it was in January. I wanted a riser board for a 2SI, and so I bought a battery bombed one on eBay, knowing that it was battery bombed. But see, that's what happens. I just broke that pin off, which is what I did not want to do. So I bought a battery bomb 2SI off of eBay. The owner had a handwritten note in it saying that this was his favorite computer of all time and that he hoped I could do something useful with it. And so I was just going to use it for the riser card and basically chuck the rest of the system. But now I feel kind of guilty. And so I'm going to try to fix that one. It needs some work. Alright, so there's my little adapter majig. So what we're going to use is a couple of leads from capacitors or whatever, and we're going to make little extensions out of for this. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is tin these up. So sorry if you're joining late, you missed all the fun. I unbent all of those pins on that 68881, and it actually works. I'm a little in shock still. But then we went over to the Mac IIx board that should have worked fine, and it was no longer booting happy. It was booting sad. So I want to do some more work on that one, but I want to get the battery holder situation straightened out because I hated the battery holders that I was using. So we're just gonna make some little battery holder adapter things real quick. Okay, got a decent solder joint on there. Now what did I do with the other one? There we go. other one. Normally I don't show me making my battery adapters, but here we are. Oh, that one is not straight. We're not saving that one like that. Okay. That's on there. Decent. How long will a CR2032 last in a classic Mac? That is a good question. I've only been doing this for a year, so I don't have a great answer for you. I know the ones I've been working with have been fine in that year. Alright, so now we need to figure out how long should this thing be. Gonna come about there. As long as it's not the old style batteries, I don't really care how long it's gonna last. And really, I mean, like people say, you don't really need batteries in these things, but I find it annoying when I turn on a system and the mouse is the wrong speed and it's not the right color and it gives me an error message that the date's wrong. So I'm just like, screw it. I'm going to put a battery in this thing. But also, well, for the Mac 2, you actually need the battery in order to turn on the computer. And I can show you, I can show why, or well, I can't show you why, but I can show you how to do it if you don't have a battery. Okay, so there's that, one of our two batteries. Gonna get rid of the excess. Where's my snippers? So in the Mac 2 and the Mac IIx, the system used the battery as part of the startup circuit. And so you need the batteries in order to turn on your computer. I don't know the why they decided to do that, but they did it. Sorry, 1 second. I need to make a little adjustment here. Okay. These two things almost fit perfectly next to each other, but they didn't. Okay, there's our little battery adapter. Not particularly elegant, but it'll work. Alright, we have our pluses aligned right. I think we're good to go. Alright, let's throw these away. Get some stuff out of our way. Alright. So now we'll come in. Plus side goes like this. This little adapter board fits in there. That goes like that. just have to be really careful because of our cordyceps FPU. I'm going to use the microscope to prop up this beast. These logic boards are so freaking huge. Trust me, folks, I'm a professional. Okay, come in, just make sure that that's totally all the way up against the board. Good. Come back and do the opposite one. Okay, that one's good. All right. Let's take a look at our solder joints down there. This was something that was on the board when I took it out, so it might indicate that there was something weird going on with this board at some point. All right, so let's stick this on the big bad bench. So I think this little battery board was, well, I mean, it was on the board when I got it, and I read something that Mac IIx's had ones like this, because they added that capacitor onto it. All right, let's see what we got here. That, and this, and that. Power, video. Got a mouse, got that. Okay, so right now, when I hit this power button, it's not going to work, okay? And that's because the 2 and IIx require, they require the PRAM batteries or CMOS batteries, whatever you want to call them, in order to boot. But if you don't have batteries on yours, you can do what's called jump starting, where you can have one of your leads there against one of the grounds, and then theoretically, there you go, and you touch it against the white wire. So you take your 3 volts and you push it up against there, and that jump starts your old Mac. Hey, Justin D. Morgan, how's it going? Yeah, so if you have an old 2 or IIx that doesn't turn on, right, because you don't have CMOS batteries, just use your jump start abilities. So take your battery. There you go. All right, so let's shut that off. Let's put in some real batteries and make sure the system actually turns on with the batteries the right way. So now we should get, yep. And our power on works fine. We're getting our sad chimes. It's really concerning. I don't know why. Let's try reseating the CPU. Maybe we'll try some different RAM. This thing was cranking before. I had it test. I ran it for like 2 days basically. Let's deoxid our CPU socket. It's always good to have some extra deoxid around everywhere because, you know, we all like our boards to be slimy. Man, this thing is not happy. Garth is back. Is one of my FPU jumper wires shorted? Hell, I don't know. Could be. Let's try some different RAM in this thing. It's my very technical paper crammed into the plastic SIM sockets to help create tension on bad sockets. Oh, I don't really want to have to replace the RAM sockets on this thing. Maybe that's part of it. She's dead, Jim. Wow. All right, so we had one win today and we had one big loss. Do I have a known FPU, good FPU? No. That actually, I should buy one just because this is ridiculous. Jeez. Let's try it without a video card. Let's just see what happens there. Nope. Let's try it with this. Ah. Huh. Well, that's interesting. What if it's something related to the SCSI? Huh. Wow. All right. Ugh. Should we do the long boot with the floppy? Let's try the blue SCSI. Internal. Yeah. We got SCSI problems. Darn. Let's check a couple of things super quick. So we'll just go, well, let's go to this diode. Should be our termination power diode. Let's open that way. And it beeps that way, so that one's fine. That fuse is good. Inductor, inductor, inductor. Those are all good. Let's get a floppy. Make sure it boots off the floppy. Wow, man. Well, at least if it's a SCSI problem, that's not too terrible to diagnose, I would hope. Let's see what happens here. Power on. Without SCSI, it's fine. Yes, Dave, this is my very fancy IIx. It is not a IIx. It is an old fluke, but I love it. Yep, so we're booting up fine with the floppy. Scuzzy. Scuzzy! Alright, so that's gonna need some troubleshooting. And I don't think I have time to do that today. But I would like to show you where we're at with the restoration of the cases of, or the case of the 2X. So I tried a technique called snowbrighting, where I stuck my Retrobrighted container out in the middle of a field of snow, and we got some decent results. It wasn't perfect, but I've done some more work on this case, and it's starting to look pretty good. So yeah, sorry. Let this thing boot up first. But you can see it's booting up fine. Now, what the heck is wrong with our SCSI? So while that's doing its thing, let's zoom out. Yeah, thank you. Quit. Shut down. Floppy eject. Power off is good. It really feels like there's something wrong with the SCSI in this. So, alright. Well, at least that narrowed it down. That helps a lot. Uh-oh. Joe's power's flickering. Alright, board. You and I are going to have to spend some more time together. I was hoping to put you away, but no. You had to give me attitude. Alright, so let me show you the case. Right here is a Mac II CI case that I retrobrighted before. And that's going to be my color reference. Also here, this is what this case looked like when we started, right before I started the retrobrighting process. And so there you can see the 2CI case coloration sitting on the big bed bench compared to the color of the 2X. So let's go back to this. And here we are today. So we've had a pretty successful retrobrighting process that went down on this thing. I'm not going to put it all back together, but compared to where this case was last week or the week before, you can see, there's still a little bit of yellowing there, but overall, this thing looks way better, and I wouldn't be embarrassed to have this 2X sitting on my bench. The original one was really gross. On the inside of this thing, it should have EMI shielding in the top. I had to take that out to do the retrobrighting. On the inside, all the EMI shielding here was rusty, so I had to take this all apart. I took out all the heat stakes that held down the EMI shielding, cleaned off all the rust using rust remover, and I've started reheat staking down all of it. So if we look here, there's a plastic thing. Again, yay, happy. It goes to ground 11, pin 24, I think KMax. Are you talking about a different stream, K-Mac? This thing had rust all over it. Had to clean that all up. So I've started coming in. And this inner EMI shield isn't down yet. Oh, G11, your no SCSI issue. Okay, cool. Pin 24 could be a bad trace. All right, cool. So I cleaned all the rust off of this thing, and I gave it a coat of it's like a zinc paint kind of thing. But yeah, this one I have started reheat staking down. So basically, I left a bunch of the plastic there originally for the heat stakes, and then use some acetone and some heat, and you can squish this stuff back down. Yeah, so it was a standard sort of retrobrighting. If you check my shorts, you can see. Check my shorts. Check my short feed. There are some videos showing my Retrobright tank. Basically, it was about 10 to 12 gallons of water, 2 containers of volume 40 peroxide, and a little bit of Tide laundry detergent, and then just let it sit in the sun, and then it does its thing. But yeah, I was hoping that since the sun wasn't all that bright, because we're basically in spring up here, and we don't have great sun intensity, that the snow would help reflect extra light. So yeah, but sorry. Yeah, so we got close. I think if this were the middle of summer, it might look a little bit brighter, but compared to where we are at, that's such a massive difference that I'm pretty happy with this overall. The one thing I will mention is, so before you do retrobrighting, you should always take off your little Apple logos. On the 2 and IIx, there's not a hole behind there. Normally, for all the other Macs, there's a hole behind where the little Apple logo is, and so it's easy to cram something in there behind it. I'll tell you what I used for this one to drill a little hole. I used a tiny Torx bit, because I didn't want to drill a real hole and have that potentially drill through the Apple logo. So I used this as like a really slow mechanism to drill a hole through the case behind the Apple logo. And once it hits it, then you can feel it and you can push it out the rest of the way. Yes, Trina. My only Max page. So yeah, unfortunately, I think that's where we're going to have to end it today. I have some other stuff to do here, but thanks for the heads up on one of the possibilities for the SCSI problem, Will. I appreciate that. So maybe we'll do one more stream on the 2X and 2. Maybe I'll have the other case finished up and ready to go by next week. But yeah, it won't be in Macintosh. I was hoping to finish these things for Macintosh, but not all plans go as intended. But we've made a lot of progress on these systems. They were a mess. So I want to thank everyone for stopping by today. I know I'm going to miss people, and I'm sorry. I really appreciate you all stopping by. It's been so much fun over the last year getting to know you all and hanging out. So Dave's Vintage Apple Tech, Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack, Trina's Techno Babble, Justin D. Morgan, K-Mac Vintage, DIY, Garth Beagle, Vic the Vicar, Eric's Edge. Man, you all showed up today. Like, that's wild. Joe's Computer Museum, Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. I think I said you all already. Oh, man, who am I missing? Adam McGee, thank you. Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack. I said you already. I wish they would just give us a list of people that were here. But thank you all for coming by today. Always great to see you, and I will see you soon. Make sure to check out Dave's Vintage Apple Tech tomorrow. He'll be doing a stream. I'm hoping to stop by for that. But yeah, have a good day, everyone.